Here we are at Augsburg, Edor Nelson Field, ready to kick off, and Lionel Vang gets us started. He dumps one over the top behind the St. John's defense, and Nicholas French, who's in goal for the Johnnies, puts his hands around it, and he pushes his team forward right away in St. John's fashion. I think he's going to kick it really far. And there it is, but he's done it into Drew Collins. Drew Collins has won the ball. It's bounced around a little bit sloppy here, and this is not the start that Augsburg wants, a bouncing ball flying around in the air. Maybe it favors the Johnnies. We'll see. Leighton Lommel tries to bring it down for St. John's and puts a ball into a wide space for Erridge, and Herb Carrera steps up and pokes it out of bounds, giving St. John's the first throw in of the game.
Herb Carrera with his first start on his career as a first year. Has had a good career so far.
Another first year, Spencer Enright just wins that ball. And Z gets in the way. Lionel Vang's on it. This should calm things down now, and he does. Finds Johnny Vu, and he's an early ball into Nick Vergara. So Vergara's making his debut up top. He's been playing right back for the Augies all year, and the Augies tonight, he stings one just over the top of the bar. The Augies are in a 4-4-2 with a tight diamond for the first time this season. It's a Greg Holker favorite, but the team's been playing a little bit wider with some wingers. And this gives Vergara a chance who in his youth days did play a little bit up front. So we'll see what Nick can do. But if that's any indication, this might not be a bad thing for Augsburg tonight.
Yeah, you love to see it. Him just attacking and running at defenders right away. I think it's going to be a fun night for him.
Another bouncing ball in the middle. Drew Collins puts his foot on it. Finally, Z calms it down a little bit. And there we go. Spencer Enright's on the ball. This first year out of St. Louis Park is something else, man. He is so calm. It's just an incredible thing. And if Augsburg can pull St. John's over and then change the point of attack and isolate action on the far wing, they're going to be in a good spot. And this is a good picture of it. And Lionel gets the ball into Herb, who's pushing forward. That's exactly what Augsburg's looking to do, is change it in tight spaces, pull the Johnnies on, create moments where they can get the best player in the league running at you. And he hits one into Nicholas French from a bad angle there. But that's still pretty good from Augsburg in the build-up.
Yeah, and it's excellent. What Augsburg does best is just moving the ball in those tight spaces. And St. John's is a team that's going to want to press you. They're going to want to squeeze you on one side of the field. And I think Augsburg has the ability to handle that perfectly and find that weak side and then be able to attack one-on-one.
St. John's peels one out of the clouds and gets back in and throws the ball over the top. Drew Collins wins it in the air. It's bouncing around. And I think the chaotic moments here are going to favor the team in red, and that's not what Augsburg wants to see. So that one's shielded out of bounds for a throw-in. Peyton Boyce just kind of lets it run. I think he was hoping for a corner there, but we'll settle for a throw.
Yeah, you kind of have two teams with almost opposite playing styles. Augsburg, a team that's going to want the ball on the pitch. They're going to want to move it. And St. John's once more that's just going to try to throttle it up the field a little bit more.
And a ball intended for Ryan Erickson up there, who's on the left edge. He's playing as an 11 for the Johnnies, and he's a player that Augsburg recruited out of Egan, but he chose St. John's, and he's on the field for the Johnnies. So pretty good decision by him. That one's deflected. Drew Collins tries to put his foot through it, and it gets into Kagan Foster and just comes out wide, and Garrett shields it and just kind of lets it go, and he'll restart with a goal kick. And let's see if Augsburg can drop in and get possession here, or if they're going to play it long as well. I can't imagine they're going to kick it far. And that's what we want to see. That's a little bit better. So Pay drops into the pocket. Peyton Boyce is the 6. Into Spencer, the freshman, Enright, who pops it around to Siku, who's a little bit higher, back into Spencer, around to Hedstrom, and Hedstrom just kicks the ball away unpressured. Lionel Vang recovers it, just steps in the way of Spacia to steal the ball, and we get it changed out the other side. And that was a little sloppy from Herb. That might have gone out of play, and it did.
So yeah, those are the first year jitters right there. Hopefully he can shake them off quick and just find his groove as the game progresses.
Throw one for DeVasia from St. John's. Bouncing ball into Wadsworth. Wadsworth kicks it over the top, and there's Spencer to intercept, and Herb does his job and gets the ball back and plays into Nick Zakowski, who puts a little bit of a dangerous ball in front of Z. That was kind of a hospital ball, but it worked out all right. And now the center back split and drop wide. Hedstrom gets on it from G, and Dan kicks it far again. I'm not really sure what he's doing there. You're going to go into the 6'5" Matt Anderson. That guy's a giant. So Hedstrom's got to be a little bit better keeping the ball on the floor for Augsburg. But Wadsworth a little bit slow with it. And here comes Ryan Erickson with some space. He's going to come around the edge. He's a speedy little bugger, too, and he can do some things. And it's a decent ball flashing across the frame. No real threat on the end of it. And Herb is over there to see Erridge out of play for an easy goal kick.
Yeah, Sinku just got kind of caught high there, and they were able to find that space in behind, and that'll definitely be something to look for, especially given the pace of Ryan Erickson.
He's got a motor, that kid. And Z's just sitting, Zakowski's sitting low, and that was an easy out for Garrett, and that's better from Augsburg. Now let's see if we can just get on the ball for a little bit. There's Peyton, who's just a little bit higher than Zakowski. They've interchanged slightly. Pay plays the ball on the right side and just changes it to Siku. Siku gets good action from Vergara, who's running diagonally away from center on the line, and it's poked out of play by Parisi for St. John's. A quick restart back in for Lionel Vang, who does this thing. And he's going 1v1 against Wadsworth, no problem there. And now we have a little bit of Zakowski magic. Plays it back out of Pay. You can see how tight and compact St. John's is here. This box of players is everywhere. And it's going to be real tough for Augsburg to break him down. Lionel tries it, and it's intercepted by Parisi in front of Spence, but a timely intervention from Sikule wins a throw-in for Augsburg.
Well done from Sinku.
Johnny Vu is run a little bit higher. St. John's Cromer, that is, just slams the ball forward. Z knocks it back on the floor with his head to Herb Carrera. If he finds Peyton's front foot, that'd have been a little bit easier for him, but Peyton still goes back and changes the point of attack to Hedstrom. Hopefully Dan slows down a little bit here, but he elects to go long, and this one will work out. Z's right in a good spot. So Dan's 3 for 3. Well, he's 2 for 3, but he's 3 for 3 with vertical balls. He's looking to play forward, and this has really created something because this left edge, Johnny Vu cuts in. He stings it. It's off the post, and he's all over right away. Johnny Vu is just splashing on that left edge. Deveja 1v1 is really vulnerable, it looks like, at least in the early part of this game. So we'll see if Augsburg can get on that a little bit more.
Yeah, and you love to see it, Johnny Vu peeling out wide, especially in this central 4-4-2, giving Lionel a chance to bump up a little bit, and then Johnny Vu just fills in a little bit wider. And
in a game that's tight here comes Johnny on that left edge again, running right at Deveja, splits it out again, but shoots it into Anderson. It's hard to miss that body. He's a monster. He's as big as Hedstrom on the other side. Back to Lionel Vang. He's under a little dress from behind, pokes it out to Spence, who smartly plays it back to Siku. Siku around into Pay, who can change it if he wants to, but plays an entry ball into Johnny, who leaves it for Spencer coming around. It flashes across the front. We have a chance there. Vergara can't quite get up there. And now Herb Carrera slams a volley just over the top of the bar for Augsburg. Pretty good action there for the Augies.
yeah, that's excellent. I mean, you love to see left back getting up into the opponent's 18 and Herb having a great chance right there. Another thing that I'm loving already is just Johnny Vu. You love to see him active, buzzing, and running at guys. I mean, he's a player that when he's on, he is on. Some people like to say that when he's smiling, if Johnny's smiling, then watch out because he's going to be good that day.
It looks like he's got a big grin on his face tonight because he's 2 for 2 running at people. Johnny's go long again from the goal kick, and it's easily won by Zakowski and the Augies. And here comes Lionel Vang running at the whole entourage of St. John's players, but that's never stopped him from doing it before. And he turns around again and plays it out to Pay. Peyton chucks into Zakowski. And this tight little action for this tight diamond for Augsburg should be all right tonight because they've got the players that have the quality to break down that space. And now they pulled it in and gone out wide on the left edge to Herb. Comes back up top of the 18. Served in, and that's one out by Cromer pretty easily for St. John's. And here comes Wadsworth, who pokes it over the top of Peyton. Now, when Foster has to come that far back, it's a good thing for Augsburg because he's so far away from the goal, he can't put his foot on it and put it in the back of the frame because he can score. Throwing on the right side for St. John's here, Deveja will get it in. Well, it looks like we have an early substitution. This is I don't know if St. John's and Coach Haas is feeling a little bit under it or if there's something wrong with Patrick Arridge on that right side, but he's put Nathan Stone in the game in the 9th minute here, an early substitution on that edge. Maybe it's to provide some cover for Deveja, who's been a little bit vulnerable from these longer vertical balls from Hedstrom.
Yeah, you got to wonder what it is. I mean, so early. Could be an injury, could be just getting burned there.
Gary Kalin clears one out for Augsburg as Lionel Vang tries to play. Oh, that's a really good idea. That left-footed early entry ball in behind to Johnny, who's just kind of hanging out on the wing, just playing on that left edge, and that space that Deveja's occupying. And I don't know if that's in the report or not, but they found something over here. Drew Collins, another freshman, steps across and stabs it out for St. John's throwing.
Plenty of space there already, and you love to see that they're taking advantage of that and kind of giving what the game gives them.
One easily by Hedstrom. And Lionel and Zukowski look like they're going to play a little two-man game here, a little hide-and-go-seek. Lionel gets thrown over the board, and the ball comes out the other way, and Artie Shearer, the referee tonight, lets it go, and Herb Carrera steps up and says, well, if you're not going to stop the play, I will.
Yeah, and you'd love to see it there. Lionel and Z are some of the best players in the MIAC when it comes to just handling the ball in tight spaces, and you can just see they're so shifty, and they use their bodies so well, shielding the ball and just creating space between the ball and their opponent.
Well, one of the problems with cheating at that spot is that you give Matt Anderson a chance to come forward. That's a big man who Hedstrom will have his hands full. And actually, Dan's free Siku's paired up with him right now. So this will be interesting to see what the service looks like. It's understruck by a little bit right into Hedstrom, and no problem for the Augies as they get out the other way. It's served back in by St. John's. And I don't know if the player was offside there or not. Yeah, he was offside. He checked back in, and that's Matt Anderson, the big center back. It's going to take him a little longer to get moving than it will the other guys. Hedstrom's on the ball here for Augsburg. I would love for Garrett to just step up and play to him, and they can build out, but Dan feels like kicking it hard again. And Matt Anderson just climbs over the top. But the second ball falls down to Augsburg. So, I mean, first down, they gain 60 yards. Spence gives it away a little bit cheaply. He'll work to recover. Can't quite get it. Peyton finds it, and Z puts his foot on it, and now Drew's on the ball to Herb, and there's a little sequence there of 3. 4, Zukowski's going to change it. He stretches vertically with a different ball, and that's a good little run over there on that right edge from Johnny Vu, and he might be able to get something out of this. If he can get a dead ball or a corner, that would be great. Looks like it's going to be a throw-in, sorry.
Johnny's been all over left edge, right edge. You'd love to see the energy that he's bringing.
Vergara's checking in. Spencer's in a tight spot. Johnny's going to come out with the ball. Lionel's with him. He can use Lionel as needed, but he just runs through the gauntlet, and Vergara takes it and turns and swings kind of wildly at a half chance. And you don't mind that from a guy who's moved from right back up top. I mean, why not? When in Rome.
Yeah, you love it. You love to see him excited, and hopefully he can find the back of the net tonight on his debut as a 9.
St. John's once again clears everybody past midfield for Nicholas French to kick it as hard as he can. One again by, what was that, like Zukowski?
Nick Zukowski.
But it falls back then, and Spencer cuts it out. So St. John's won the second ball. Augsburg got it back right away, and now Spencer's in a tight spot, but he can shift out of a lot of tight spots, and that was evidence of it. Paid with a good vertical entry ball in that pocket there. Johnny Vu, Nick Vergara cutting across. Yeah, that's outstanding stuff from the Augies. And here they go again. If Johnny can, he's in a 1v1 position here. He's get in. He's around the end line. He blocks it out for a corner, and that's what Augsburg's looking for.
Oh, yeah. When you got a player like Dan Hedstrom at 6'5", who scored 8 goals last year as a center back, you're looking forward to those corner kicks.
Well, it looks like they're going to play short here maybe. I don't know if they can get Lionel the ball right away. Maybe not. Well, now it's a 2v1, so you got to do it. And Z gets around the edge, and here he is with a service, and he can flash this in. It's a decent ball. It comes right out the ball. Comes out to Peyton Boych, but it just bounced off the outside of his foot, and he put it into the park.
Someone's going to have to go chase after that one.
Yeah, that's going to need a visa to catch that one.
Oh, yeah.
All left with his vapor trail. Oof. A little bit of sloppiness from Augsburg trying to gain possession of the ball, and here comes Eriksson again, and that's not what we really want to see. It creates a chance. It's blocked out by Siku, who recovers nicely, but it is a throw-in for St. John's on that edge, and they're notorious for long throws and real danger on dead balls. I would say, though, it's tough on this on the north side of the stand here it's just a short fence run. You can't get out. St. John's with a little bit of possession here. That's 2 or 3 passes in a row. That's 2 or 3 too many. But Augsburg wins it back, and Pay goes early on that left edge. Johnny Vu's hanging out, and guess what? He's 1v1 with Devasia, so we have a good idea what's going to happen here. He keeps cutting, goes all the way across, and just loses it. It bounces up right as he swings at it, and it's over the top and out of play for a goal kick for St. John's.
Just over, but that's the shot Johnny wants. He wants it on his right foot. He wants to curl it far post, and it's a good look. He's got to put it on frame, though.
French sends one forward again for the Johnnies. Hedstrom steps up to intercept and win that one. Herb Carrera puts a ball up, and Vergara does a good job challenging in the air. He's never going to win that ball, but he does a good enough job just to disrupt the St. John's player from winning it. And Augsburg suddenly is on the ball again.
Yeah, and something Augsburg has done great, although they may not have the height advantage going up against those center backs. They've done really well in challenging
Oh,
and being
and
able to
that's
win
just
those second balls.
an outstanding little sequence from Augsburg before French intercepts the entry ball into Vergara. But the buildup was just really fun to watch. And if Augsburg can keep doing more of that and just get it even a little bit tighter, they're going to create some more chances here. They've certainly had the run of play so far.
Yeah, you love to see it. Augsburg coming off a tough defeat at St. Olaf with some unfortunate bounces that went the other way. I mean, they've bounced back and they've looked really good tonight, which is good because they need it.
St. John's is on the ball, turned over again, and we'll see how we get out of this one. Shielded out really intelligently by Herb Carrera, who just gives the Augies a throw-in right in front of St. John's. Looks like their coaching staff there on the edge of the bench. Johnny Boo tries to flick it over, and he gains 15 yards on it, and here they go again. And throw-ins are something that, seem like an insignificant part of the game, but just knowing that you can either gain yardage with it or maintain possession. They're important, and you got to have it. You got to be a little bit sharper at those. You can't just give away the ball cheaply. And the first one led to a 15-yard gain, and then this one was led to a foul and a free kick. So there's a reason for it.
Yeah, and those are the details that Augsburg just chooses to hone in on, and definitely shows in the game.
Looks like the ball's coming in long here, and that's Vergara plays it in the air. He's kind of all alone on that one. That's really the only way he's going to win a header straight up against these St. John's players. These guys are some big boys, and Z and Pay are playing a two-man game right now. Let's see if the Augies can change a point of attack, and it's back to Z again. Over to Lionel, back to Z. A quick little combo, and Z slips in with a big touch, tries to push it with his left foot out, and it gets poked just enough to disrupt it. Spencer finds Sikule back into Z. Zukowski changes it with his patented kind of wraparound turn, and Lionel's driving on the dribble. And look out, because if Lionel's going, you're in trouble. And he's getting it. Oh, he just steps past the ball when he hits it. It's going to stay in play, I think, all the way on that far end. It's almost like Herb couldn't keep it in, but that ball just got caught on the inside of Lionel's body as he was swinging at it. But he did really well to drive, attack 4 or 5 St. John's players and just give it a go.
And that's just something Lionel's so good at, being ambidextrous and being able to go with both feet. The defender just never knows which ways he's going and just always keeps him on his toe. Lionel is just probably the best player in the MIAC on the dribble. I don't think anyone can really stop him.
St. John's trying to gain a little bit of position there, but there's a foul called. And the referee tonight, Artie Shear, has whistled it against St. John's. I didn't see it. But Pay plays short to Z in typical Augsburg fashion, and those two are back at it again in a two-man game. Herb pushes the line on the left edge, and that right edge over there, it looks like Spencer's just going to shield this thing out of play and just take the set piece and give Dan Hedstrom a chance to come forward.
Yeah, Augsburg's doing a great job of finding that space behind the right back and left back's outside shoulder. They're really exploiting it, and it's surprising with the central 4-4-2. You think be mostly going down the middle, but they're being able to find that space really, really well. We'll see what they can do on this corner.
Well, you saw Herb push forward on the left side. This right edge was a right midfield player spraying out, but here comes the service in. Hedstrom creates a little bit of space, and he's done it. The Augies are up 1-0. Dan Hedstrom from Lionel Vang, and those are the two players and the names you're going to hear a lot, and you've heard it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely textbook right there. Just finding Hedstrom in the box, and when you're 6'5" and you're that strong and you're that good at doing what you do, you know it's going to be good.
It looked like Hedstrom just got a little separation. You just nudged the St. John's defender a bit. I don't know if it was Cromer or who it was, but he just got enough separation to be able to pound it in. And when you're that close, if French is going to stay on his line, it's going to be a problem for St. John's. And that's a dead ball goal for the Augies, which really in the rhythm of this game is a little bit weird because it's been a really good flow in possession for Augsburg. So, sometimes you need to lock opponents with a set piece to be able to get balls in the run of play.
Oh, yeah, and especially in the MIAC with how competitive it is, sometimes that's a difference. It's the set pieces and those small details that matter so much.
St. John's will have a throw-in front of their bench. Nathan Stone throws it in. founds Wadsworth. Wadsworth is on the dribble. Wadsworth is really kind of a threatening player for St. John's. He tries an early entry ball in, but it's cut out by Drew Collins effectively. And now Vergara's be able to hold up Hedstrom's clearance. Let's see if he can just allow enough time for the Augies to come forward. And he turns it over to Anderson. And Spence comes through and swings hard because he has to, because Matt Anderson is just a big, big human being. And here comes Wadsworth. And I don't know if that was like a half shot, half cross. If Erickson could have got through there, it might have been something for St. John's, but it looked like Wadsworth was falling on his back foot when he swung at it.
Yeah, it looked like a shot, but I'm sure he would have claimed it was a pass. It looked like a pretty good ball going in.
Wadsworth's got a bit of a history with the Augies too. I mean, he was involved in a tackle a few years ago with Jason Sheeler that ended his career, and he's always a vibrant player for the Johnnies who's got a lot of potential and quality, and he's sometimes gets a little bit of a temperament that gets in the way. So we'll see here. Here comes St. John's. I'm sorry, the Augies are coming forward, and it's played out. Parisi did well to cut that out and play it back to Nicholas French, and here's Wadsworth again on the ball. And you can see him dance on it. He's got the ability. And Leighton Lommel now is driving forward. And Leighton Lommel is a really good player. What an entry ball from Leighton Lommel. That's a really good one. And St. John's had a chance there, but the Augies dealt with it. Johnny Vu patiently waiting. He gets hooked by an elbow, and I think the referees decided to give him a foul. That last moment from St. John's getting around, Augsburg looked a little bit I don't know if it was complacent on that cutback ball, but I think Nathan Stone had a chance to do some damage to the Augies, and there was some separation between, Foster and Hedstrom and Drew Collins, and he just didn't find him. He just cut it back into a space where Augsburg was able to get it and just play the ball out safely. So there's still a moment, where St. John's looks like they could create something out of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing with St. John's, their team that's so dangerous going forward. And even though Augsburg has the majority of the possession, it's those moments that if they don't switch back on defensively, they can be punished.
Lionel plays a set piece into the box, but it's too deep, and it's easily gathered by Nicholas French, who pushes his team up again as he continues to come to the top of the box. And he set the ball down and rolled it out and played it with his feet. And it looks like Vergara is going to take that option away and make him punt it in the sky. He doesn't do particularly well with it, and it was a smart move by Vergara because ends up with Lionel Vang and Z playing a little two-man game. And here comes Lionel Vang now driving on the dribble.
Beautiful.
He's got something on the edge there. Johnny Vu cuts in. Spencer's on the end of it. He knocks it down into a dangerous space, but Zukowski was looking for the drop back. I don't think he was willing to run into that pocket. He just sat there and said, play it back to me. But here come they in tight spaces again. Look, might get another ball out wide, and it is. So here comes Herb, the left back, all the way in, and he serves it across. Vergara's not going to win that. St. John's wins it, and players are kind of jumping and pretending to actually want to win the ball. And here comes a foul on Lionel as he grabs the arm of Erickson. That could be a caution, actually. He grabbed his hand and pulled him back a little bit. I know Lionel got tugged on the underball, but Artie does well to pull him in here and have a chat with him. And I think he's going to let him off the hook and just say, hey, don't be doing that again.
Yeah, and you saw there just great moment from Augsburg being able to get in that central 4-4-2, suck in St. John's, and then find out that space out wide. And I think Herb could have done a little better on the cross there, right-footed player playing on the left edge. But I love the idea. I love what Augsburg is doing.
Another long ball played by St. John's, one out by Augsburg for St. John's throw-in. And Parisi's on the edge here, throws it in, finds Foster again, who's coming real deep to get the ball. And if he's got to come deep, then look. You can see that he's a player, but he's having to play so far away from the attacking goal. Oh my goodness, a good early entry ball in the top, and Vergara had Nicholas French off the line, and he's just not got it. French is like 6'5", so maybe not that tall, but he's pretty big. But Vergara with a wonderful idea to lift it over the top of him, but he just doesn't hit enough of it in a really good moment, a counterattacking moment for Augsburg.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that a few times now. Augsburg electing to play that early long ball up into that space, and it's great to see that they can mix in their possession with that.
Sikule clears it for the Augies. Looks like Spezia having a little bit of trouble against Parisi. Parisi plays it back softly. It's stolen by Vu, but Anderson comes over and stacks the pads. It's a good ball. I mean, that's a great ball from him, too. And it's a great job by St. John's to play out of that pressure and change the point of attack all the way through Devasia. So he's coming forward now. Let's see what he does. He throws it into a space and just right in the Hedstrom's feet. But again, Dan just gives it away, kind of I don't know if he needs to do that. I think he can put something on it. Peyton sees something up front and he's trying to exploit it. It's probably because Anderson was higher. And there it is. Oh, there he is, back on the pads again. If Johnny could have just poked that by, it would have been 2v1 for the Augies in the other way. But nonetheless, St. John's is on the ball, and now it's turned back over to Augsburg. Just a little bit of pressure. St. John's has regained it, so it's kind of bouncing back and forth on that far side, but nothing really threatening. St. John's now finally stringing a pass together. If they change it again, they'll get a little bit more, and they do. So Parisi play back into the pocket. And again, you see how deep Kagan Foster has to come to get the ball. And he's played it into Wadsworth. Wadsworth back to Lommel. Lommel turns it with a little bit of a Cruyff turn, a good ball over on the left side to Parisi. I don't know if Erickson's tucked in so far. There's really no width anymore for St. John's. And Spencer blocks out earlier. It's service that comes in, but Herb has no problem handling that. And then Peyton helps it along and just spits it up the field. So even though St. John's has the ball a little bit here, they just don't have it in a place that's going to be a threat. And again, Herb intercepts and wins that one. And I'm just not sure that player is enough. Nathan Stone over there is not he's come in for Patrick Arridge early in the game to sub as a substitute. I don't know if it was an injury or something going on, but St. John's did not get better with that move.
No, not at all.
Oh, my goodness. Spencer Enright just so calmly digs himself out of a problem. What a great switch of the ball, too, all the way on the far side of the field. And as that Zukowski, it looks like it based on the way he's moving his body. Back foot, and it's a little problem there. And Peyton solves it. He gets past Wadsworth, but if Herb could just play his front foot, it'd be better. But what a great little vertical ball. Allows Z to drive forward and run at people and do his patented stuff. If he can get the ball out of there, good. Back into pay. Around to Spence. Spence out to Siku. It's understruck a little bit. That could be a problem. Siku pokes in there, no problem. Dan with a good timely tackle. And Spencer now with a little bit more time on the ball. Good movement up front from Vergara. Again, these angled runs away from center. He's just making the backs. He's really confusing Parisi and Anderson and doing a good job.
Yeah, great spell possession by the Augies right here.
Anderson does well to regain it for St. John's. Devasia panics and kicks it away, but Peyton loses it uncharacteristically, and now Spencer's back on the ball. So Spencer, the freshman again, with Herb and with Drew Collins. There's 3 first years out there that are making a big difference for Augsburg tonight. Peyton changes it through Zukowski. Zukowski has Herb way wide. He sees him. He plays him, and let's see what happens out of this. We've got to get more runners in the box. So Herb just kind of gives that one away. He probably doesn't need to play it that quickly, but his movement to begin was good. Z's change of point of attack was good. We just have to have a little bit more ambition from the Augies to get into the box.
Yeah, and I think Herb needs to recognize a little bit there that there's no one in the box. There's no need to play that ball in, and we can step on it and keep it, because that's something that the Augies do extremely well. And you've seen them do it at times, but I think that would have been a moment where just stepping on it and keeping it would have been the right move. But nonetheless, love to see Herb getting up into the attack.
St. John throws the balls in. It bounces around a little bit in the air, and comes Leighton Lommel on it with a nice textured little pass into Foster. Foster cuts back, and you can see he's created his own space, and he's hit it a little bit high. But once again, you can see why this player is a problem for opponents. He can do it.
Yeah, 5'11" with 7 goals and an assist on the season. I mean, he's definitely a handful for defenses. And although he's been dropping in, and the farther away he is from the goal, the better. I mean, as you can see there, he can still pull up from range, and he's a threat anywhere in the attacking third.
Well, I'm waiting to see somebody drop low for Augsburg, but it looks like Garrett's just going to kick this one too, and that's not ideal. And as it turns out, St. John's wins the header and puts the ball back in, and now it's bouncing in the back third of the Augies. And it's overrun. Lommel gets a nick on it. Erickson put a little Cruyff back into Lommel. They're playing around Spencer, but Peyton reads the game so well that it's hard to get through him. So he cuts it out, plays an early ball into line. Lionel with the first time ball on the right edge. Vergara pulled himself out wide. He's running back in with a little behind the hip. Changes it to Z. Z loosely to Pay on the left edge to Herb all the way up to Johnny Vu now, who's splayed all the way wide on the left edge. You can see now the 2 forwards are splitting way wide and opening up the central channel for Lionel in the 9, or the 10, sorry. So Hedstrom's back on the ball. He throws a vertical ball, a long one in. That's never going to be won again. Big Dan He's on. I mean, he's the goal scorer tonight, and he's a handful in every possible way. And you can see him here defensively, but he's swinging at it, and he's got to do a better job of keeping the ball for the Augies.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Dan can find moments where he can find his center mids instead of just dumping it up to our 5'4" striker going up against a 6'5" center back.
Wadsworth on the ball for St. John's into Foster. Foster cuts across. He's got a little bit of space, and he turns it. And I don't know if G got a tip on that or not. It looks like he did. The referee's giving him a corner kick, and a corner kick. And again, you just can't let this Foster kid turn and face you up because he's got one thing on his mind, and it's the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, that was really well done by him in tight space to be able to square his hips up and rip a shot like that. And G did well to just push it just slightly over the crossbar.
Corner kick coming up for St. John's. Augsburg's got two players on the post. Hedstrom covering the 6. Everyone else is paired up. There's a player free. It looks like Leighton Lommel on the top of the 18. And he's moving in, too. And that's going to force Vergara to come all the way back and chase him. And Vergara does really well, actually, just enough to get his hands on his back. And Augsburg looks like they're going to survive this and deal with the pressure okay. And Hedstrom puts his foot through it and sends it far. It just worked out all right. And here comes Lionel, who is playing high. He tries to get one over the top to Vergara. Parisi does well to intercept that one. Back into Johnny Boo. Johnny Boo's got all day. If he can step on it, he'll let the Augies come forward. But he's going to go on his own and eventually turn it over. And here comes St. John's the other way. So Wadsworth against Peyton. Wadsworth moving his feet pretty well, and it's a good intervention, but it's not enough. And here comes Erickson and St. John's. Erickson and Foster have a chance to do some damage here. Erickson tries. It's blocked out. Drew Collins with a timely tackle because Kagan Foster was all alone right there 12 yards out, and he's raising his head, and Peyton Boych is lifting his hands in the air saying, why are you losing the ball on the other end of the field? And that's really what led to this moment.
Yeah, and I mean, Drew doing what he does best, just sacrificing his body for the team, and just a great tackle in there to block Kagan's shot. And I think that's what he does so well, just coming up big when he needs to.
He's limping a little bit. I'd like to see him turn and get the ball out from Garrett here, but he does have a little bit of a hiccup in his step right now after that tackle. There must be a substitution too.
Yeah, during the corner kick, we had Taylor Sullivan coming in for Nick Zakowski.
Okay. Looks like Tio's in up top, so the front two have been changed for the Augies as well, perhaps. Oh,
Yeah, you got
Tio. Who was that? James Gagnon?
Yeah, you got Lalo and James Gagnon. James making his 4th appearance this year for the Augies. Love to see it. Senior from Minneapolis. One of the hardest working, best human beings on this team, and you love to see him.
Well, there he is on the ball. He's got it out wide, and he plays it back into Enright. Enright has a chance to change it, but he splits it and finds Lionel. James runs diagonally away, and he's got Lalo Gomez running now in the corner. They've interchanged their runs, a little pullback and leave for Spencer, but Lalo found himself in an offside position there. So St. John's has done well to compress the space and trap Lalo, and they'll get a free kick coming out the other way.
Yeah, and you'd love to see Lalo and James right away just doing what Johnny and Nick were doing so well of interchanging and confusing those center backs and outside backs. And I think that's what's been working so well for the Augies, just that dynamic movement up top and just not being so unpredictable.
Well, French bangs it long, and Hedstrom wins the ball, and now Matt Anderson puts his foot onto the ball into the sky. It's won there by Sikule, who's one of the bravest players in the league, and Spencer just plays himself out of problems.
Beautiful.
He's just so calm.
Yeah, Spencer's been just absolutely phenomenal in his first start in the midfield. So composed, so great on the ball, high IQ. He's just a fun player to watch.
Sully and Peyton and Herb playing a little 3-man game there, and they'll involve Lalo in it. But this is, I mean, in regard to passes completed in possession, this has been one-way traffic. But that doesn't say St. John's hasn't had chances, because Foster's put his foot on 2 of them, and one of them was really close.
That's all it takes sometimes.
Now we have another, looks like trying to get a ball in the substitution coming up here for St. John's. That looks like Guy Mo's coming in. Augsburg still retains possession with the throw-in. Gagnon tosses it all the way to Herb. Herb swings it around through Pay. Pay into Lionel. Lionel plays a little dancing game. And Sully now with the ball here. Sullivan's been playing this season. He gets fouled there. I don't know if the guy grabbed him or what, but Sullivan's been playing this year with some stress fractures in his shins. I mean, you got to be kidding me. The poor kid is a senior who was the team MVP as a sophomore, and he can barely walk in training. And he comes out in games and he gives the Augies what he can, which is really 15 to 20 minutes max. And but it's still effective, and it's fun to see him out there because the kid can play.
Yeah, you love to see him playing through the pain, and that's just who he is.
Well, that led to a set piece for the Augies, and it leads to another set piece. So a dangerous ball that was a little bit understruck and flicked up over the top, and St. John's nicks it out of play for another Augsburg corner, and we'll see what happens here. Lionel's making his way over to the ball. This just might be a straight-up Drew Collins, Daniel Hedstrom effort.
Yeah, it looks like they got Paul Wadsworth on Hedstrom man marked, and
Well, now you got a 2v1 with Peyton over there. There we go. That's a little better. Peyton and Lionel. Lionel cuts back to his right. He gets bumped off the ball a little bit, but still retains possession. Tries to go around the edge. He's in a tough spot. And oh, jeez, what a foul! Tommy Picca, what a foul! That was, and it looks like he's got something to say too, which is there's some, Tommy Picca played for the Augies a couple of years ago as a first-year student and then transferred to St. John's. That was not a good foul, and
no, not at all.
not even in a good location for St. John's. So that one looked like it had some sort of personal emotion attached to it.
Yeah, for sure. You saw him clapping after the fact as well.
Yeah, it gives Augsburg another free kick in the final third here, much like a corner. We get it in early. I like that idea. Lionel's on the ball. He's cutting to his left, tries to hit it, cuts to his right. Looks like he flicks one in, and James just nicks it. I can see what the idea was from Lionel, trying to play on that right edge to Peyton, but James put his head on it and flicked it a little bit high out of bounds. So maybe understruck by Lionel or overstruck by Lionel. But nonetheless, a goal kick for St. John's. Well, hopefully Tommy can slow down a little bit. He's a good player, really good player. He's got a good hand on his shoulders, but that foul was out of character. That wasn't very good. French whacks one forward. The Johnnies are coming through. Siku does fine to shield the play out of bounds, or at least away from center, and he does it again. And there it is out of bounds for St. John's throw. It looks like Guy Moses entered the game now for Ryan Erickson on the left edge, and he and Siku right away tangle. And he throws his arms in frustration. The problem is Siku's one of the strongest human beings in the league.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to win a muscle battle against Senku.
Yeah, it will, but he's he's a strong player, and he's got a lot of pace, and his story is an outstanding story. He came from Orono, and he's a Haitian refugee who's really just a heck of a player, good family, and he can play. Last year, he had an outstanding year in his debut season. So St. John's now getting on the ball a little bit. Cromer elects to kick it forward. Wadsworth tries to knock it back for Picca, and here's Tommy, and you can see what he can do on the ball. He's calm, and how's Guy Moses on this one, and I don't know. It looks like he's trying to shoot that. I don't know if that was the best idea. I mean, he's like 40 yards away, and there it is. It's like decent ball in, and it's off the head of Foster, but the referee's got it wrong and awards a corner kick to St. John's. That was a little bit of a confusing moment for Augsburg on the back, and that's what happens when you throw balls into dangerous spaces.
Yeah, kind of caught him off guard and showing that although most of the traffic has been going Augsburg's way, something can come out of nothing.
This was the second corner kick here by the Johnnies as they bring it in again, but now the Augies have pretty much everybody paired up except one, and that one's out of play before it even got started. So I didn't see who served it, but that's not what you want if you're St. John's.
No. Especially with how important set pieces are, to just waste one away like that is really tough. They have to do better there. They got to take advantage and capitalize as Augsburg showed, and that's why they're on the board.
Looks like another substitution for the Augies too. Antonio Magadan comes in for Gagnon, so James's minutes here are a little bit limited and maybe not as effective, and maybe it's because it looks like Tio's dropped in as a 10 and pushed Lionel up higher, and I think that maybe is part of it. So Lionel, to keep him on the field and keep him fresh, you can play him higher as a 9 where he doesn't have to do as much work, and Tio can drop in and play as the 10.
Yeah, and Lionel is just a player that when he's given the chance to just float and find his spaces and do his things, he's so hard to deal with.
And he's moved over on that left edge naturally. Guimau's undercuts G there. That was unfortunate. No harm, no foul, no issue there. But he's moved over in a space where he can match up with DeVasia. So I don't know if he just smells blood or if that's been some sort of instruction from the bench. But either way, he's in that spot. G throws the ball out to Siku. Siku plays a little combo with Spencer around the back. Plays it back to Pay. Yeah, smart stuff. Lionel's on the ball there, paired up. Lalo tries to protect it and can't. And Tio will press it and force Cromer to play the ball high into the air. And St. John's now deals with a bouncing ball coming forward. Tommy Pickup plays one that's cut up by Hedstrom, who plays an early ball in. And Lionel's got some room here. He's eluded DeVasia. Now he's going with Cromer. He cuts back in again. 2-0. I mean, this kid's unbelievable. You just give him one moment, and he just swings it back around and slams it in. He's an unbelievable player, this Lionel Vang.
Surrounded by 4 defenders, he makes it look so easy. Just cuts on his right and shelves one like it's nothing. And you love the ball from Hedstrom for the early ball there. I mean, he'd been doing some of those first-time balls out of the back in the first half, or early in the first half, and I wonder if that was his intention, and that one worked out perfectly. Got Lionel in behind, and I mean, Lionel doing what he does best, taking on 4 guys and putting one up upper 90.
Well, those 2 guys connected on the first goal. Vang to Hedstrom on a set piece, and now Daniel returns the favor to Lionel with just 5 minutes to go as the Augies double their lead. And you're right, Daniel's, a lot of his early entry balls, I think maybe the intent's there, but the execution has not been. But that one definitely was, and it gave Lionel a chance. And Lionel 1v1 is going to be Lionel. Lionel 1v2 is likely going to be Lionel. Lionel 1v3 we've seen as Lionel. And there was another example of it with a heck of a goal. Well, G has the ball now for the Augies. It looks like he's going to punt it up. St. John's elects to play a little bit higher. It looked like Ben Becker's coming for Kagan Foster up front. So there's a little bit of change. I don't know what happened there. It looks like Guimau's hurt his ankle pretty bad. So now he's going to get a foul there on Spence. But
yeah, he's limping a little bit, shaking it off. That's just huge from the Augies there to be going into the half, hopefully with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, you don't want to give up these dead balls, though, and Leighton's played it into a dangerous spot, and that's what Tio does so well, too. He's a beast in the air, so as he drops into the 10, he can take care of some of that stuff, and he does a good job doing it there, and he can push the line a little bit higher. And here's Lionel playing a 2-man game with – I mean, those 2 guys can just pass the ball back and forth all day. Sorry, not Lionel, but Lalo, and here comes Lionel. Again, 1v1 on the left edge, cutting into his right. And he wants it, and he hits it, and he just stings it over the bar again. And that, I mean, Johnny Vu hit the post from that spot. Johnny Vu went over the top from that spot. Herb Carrera hit one over the top from that spot. And that volley, Lionel has scored from that spot. Lionel's cut in again and just put over the top from that spot. So, I mean, if I'm St. John's, I've got to find a way to provide some sort of cover for that pocket of space on the field, because right now Augsburg is absolutely exposing it.
Yeah, I mean, they've been going all day at DeVasia.
Drew Collins lifts one up out of danger and back into St. John's, and Cromer just pumps it back in first time. Wadsworth knocks it down for Lamo. And here comes Tio on the dribble. I can't imagine. Wadsworth wins it back with some good skill. Stuck in by Sully. And here
well done by Sully.
Now there's moments of transition everywhere, and there's a foul. When a ball's going to go back and forth that many times in the middle of the field, someone's going to whack somebody because fatigue kicks in. You can't just change direction that many times without being frustrated.
Looks like Miguel Tejeda stepped in to give Lionel a breather these last 4 minutes of the half. Miggy, a player who had a very strong start for the Augies at the beginning of the season, starting the first 6 games of the year, and he's kind of tailored off since then, but nonetheless a great player with a really bright future ahead of him, and he's proven himself so far this first half of the season.
A long free kick from there from Peyton right in the arms of Nicholas French, and now Spencer Enright's wanted the return favor ball back, and he's gone the distance here in the first half, and Tio plays in. Sully's on this left edge, Miggy, that is Miggy on the left edge, and he's got it all the way over to Pay. Pay's got Herb pushing forward. Herb has it. Sully tucks in nicely, and then pops out. And he's on the ball, plays it around. Sorry, that's Sullivan. So it was Lalo who was tucked in and then popped out. I'm not really sure why he popped out, but there he is on the ball again. Herb tries to go around the edge. He's going to lose this battle, I think. It's a 1v1 and a 1v2 coming in. If he can get a throw in, it'd be pretty good.
Well done. It's Miggy on the ball right now.
Yeah. Cuts in. Look at that. He just splits two
beautiful.
defenders. Gets bumped off with a little bit of muscle that he'll gain in the offseason. But that was, Teal. Look at the pressing there. That's outstanding. Running hard. Guy Moses got to stretch himself. Spencer does really well to close him down. And there's a battle that's off of Guy Moses, and Augsburg wins the ball just simply from hard work. That was really sprung from Teal's press there. And now Miggy's on the rock, and he's getting held, but the referee lets it go, and he returns the favor, and the referee lets that go. Sully's on the ball, plays it back to Sekoule. Let's see if Augsburg can just put their foot on it and calm the game down. It has gotten a little bit chaotic here in the last few minutes. The substitutions come in, and sometimes the game changes, and it gets a little bit sloppier, but Augsburg's deep. They've got a lot of quality from a lot of different players, and they can play.
Yeah, they brought in a really strong freshman class. As you can see, several of them making an impact in today's game, and hopefully they can use that to their advantage and just keep the level high as substitutions come in.
Going for St. John's, won by Hedstrom, and now Becker is again, just like Kagan, same issues. Becker's had to drop all the way deep to get the ball to be in a dangerous spot. And if St. John's is going to be 40 yards away, they're 9 catching the ball 49 yards away, that should be okay. Wadsworth tries an early one, and that's easily garnered by Gary Kalin, and the clock's got to be winding down here, and it is. We're at the half. Augsburg with a 2-0 lead. And St. John's kicks off to start the second half with just a slight change. So it looks like Brian Pacelli is in where Erridge was playing early. So Guy Moses is also going to be in the game. Sorry, no, he's not. Pacelli's in. Erickson and Foster up front. And St. John's right away throws one up front to Gary Kalin. The Augies, it looked like they remain unchanged from the beginning of the first half. And at 2-0 up, Augsburg has to feel pretty good because it's a really important game for the Augies. They got to have these points. When you're at home and you're against St. John's, that's a tall task because this is a difficult team to play against, big and athletic and strong on a really tight field. But Augsburg just on the ball, I mean, with the exception of Nick right there, kind of losing it, has been just outstanding. I mean, they had, 61% of the ball in the first half and double the shots and chances and 2 goals. And so they've been really good. But St. John's is opening the second half with a completely different vigor and a decent little ball played in there by Wadsworth that's cut out. And here they come again. So there's just problems early for Augsburg. And it's one away, but is it one away? There we go.
Yeah, and the thing with Augsburg is they've been great. They haven't had necessarily a bad game from start to finish, but there's been moments in games that have cost them games. I mean, you think about the St. Mary's game, they had a stretch where they gave up 2 goals in the second half, and that really hurt them. And you think about the MAC and in the first 20 minutes of that game and what happened there. I mean, they have great stretches, but they also have stretches that really hurt them. And I think a key to this game is just allowing for those stretches to be long as they were in the first half and not having those lapses that can cost them games.
Let's see if they can get back on the ball. The first minute was certainly all St. John's as they came forward and created some chances. Never got anything on goal, though, to the Augies' credit. They just didn't allow anything, didn't give it up. Here comes St. John's again. Wadsworth's on the ball. A little bit of an arm battle with Zukowski. Zukowski wins it. There's a channel for Vergara. He's running between the center backs. It's a good spot for him. He just can't quite – Zukowski doesn't get it off his foot. But a great run from Vergara to pull the 2 center backs apart and create an opportunity for him. And here comes Hedstrom to provide some cover. And I don't know if Dan, just kicks it again. This is like one-touch Dan tonight. I mean, the ball to Lionel Vang was outstanding, but outside of that, he's been a turnover waiting to happen.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him about that.
He's going to watch this back and be a little bit frustrated about the play-by-play guy giving him some slack. Sekoule gets underneath that entry ball from St. John's, and here comes Leighton Lowell, plays one in. It's tucked away by Z. Pay finds Lionel Vang. Yeah, that's a good out there. That looks like Johnny, actually. Lionel's pulled himself out wider. And he's got Johnny in, and these 2 guys can do some things together when they go. Johnny spits it out, but he recovers the ball real quickly for Augsburg, and he's battling 1v3, but he's still put up a fight. and does just, and look at how deep he has to recover, but he does what he needs to do to regain possession. And Spencer's on it now after Peyton had it, and see if we can change it through Z. It's good closing on the left edge from St. John's, but Herb was a little bit too high, and DeVasia got in the way there. So it's already an improved moment from DeVasia, who anticipated that entry ball and cut it out before it happened. Herb plays through Pay to Drew, background to Garrett Kalin. So a good first-time soccer from the Augies. And Kalin elects to skip a bunch of lines and kick it to the 6'5" center back. But it falls to Wadsworth, and Wadsworth drives by Peyton. He finds a good ball on the right edge here. Foster now is in a good spot where he's 1v1, serves it across again, just a little bit high. Ryan Erickson is about as tall as the Augie forwards right now, Vergara and Vu. So a tough moment for him, but nonetheless, St. John's got in behind, and Kagan Foster got deeper, and that's a sign of a little bit of concern there.
Again,
Hedstrom kicks it as hard as he can again, and St. John's wins the ball, and here they are right back at him, and here comes Wadsworth.
Yeah, I think big difference between first half and second half is just those second balls. I mean, in the first half, you saw Augsburg playing those long balls from time to time, but they were being able to win those second balls. And I mean, St. John's has just won every second ball to start this half.
They're an athletic team, and they're ferocious in their competitiveness. So this isn't a group that you want to just, kind of sit back and wait and try to hold a 2-0 lead on. They're going to cause some problems if you do that. You got to come at them.
Yeah. And I think just given Augsburg's strengths, slowing the game down, getting on the ball, just knocking it, that's what they need to find here. And hopefully they can find some rhythm soon, because it's been a pretty choppy start to the game, and that's definitely benefited St. John's.
Well, here's a set piece for St. John's. It's in a really difficult spot for the Augies, and Leighton Lommel is going to spit it in just behind, but Hedstrom wins it, and it's headed back across. That Erickson had a chance to put one really in a dangerous spot, and he just got it a little bit high. It was like one of those balls when you try to hit it and it hits you in the nose.
Yeah, and he just headed it straight to the floor.
Yeah.
Almost looked like a trap more than anything.
But a dangerous spot and a good moment for St. John's. Here they are with a throw-in deep in the Augie zone. Leighton sitting patiently for a change, whatever it comes.
Footwork.
Foster a little bit ambitious on his own there, and it turns over eventually. Oh, nice little roll.
Beautiful.
Wow, that was outstanding. So Lionel's on the ball. We'll turn it up, face you up. Plays himself out of a problem. Tight spot, gets it again. Sekou provides a little depth, and Hedstrom kicks it again. This is sound like a bot right now. Leighton Lommel and Vergara, and that's just something to notice too. Leighton Lommel for St. John's, Nick Vergara, and Daniel Hedstrom, both Augies, all played together at Northern Michigan 2 seasons ago in NMU. Oh, there's a chance right here. Vergara right across the face of the goal. That came out of nothing. So a forward entry ball, and Augsburg almost had a chance, but those 3 guys played together at Northern Michigan in the first year of that program at Division II school in the Upper Peninsula at Marquette. And I know Daniel left after his first year, and then Nick Vergara left, and I think Leighton left at the same time Nick did. And it's been interesting to see how that worked out. I know Leighton spoke quite a bit with Greg Holker and the Augies, but he ended up choosing going closer to home. They're from St. Cloud, and it's a really good family. So wish the best for Leighton. Erickson clips one over the top. A chance for St. John's, but easily handled by Garrett Kalin.
Northern Michigan's almost acting as a farm system to the MIAC. I mean, they just had one more player, Edgar Astorga, join the Augies this fall, having to sit out due to some compliance reasons, but they'll be very eager to have him in the fall of 2020.
Hedstrom on the ball. Plays. There it is. There it is, Daniel. There it is. Finds Lionel's feet. Lionel runs at some guys. Entry ball, big switch on the left edge. Herb's all the way up on the line. You can see how high the Augsburg's fullbacks play, and Herb just gives that one away a little bit cheaply, but the action in the buildup was really good. Sekou, in an uncharacteristic way, gives it away, but he's going to win the ball back here. And he's just a fearful person. He's never going to give up. And
well done, Spencer.
Yeah, that's great from Pay, too, or Spencer. Now through Peyton. Peyton over to Z. Herb is flashed out again on this left edge if he wants it. Spencer's on the right. So you can see the width is coming from the fullback on the left side and from Spencer, who keeps flashing out of that diamond on the right. And here comes Herb in with an early entry ball from Lionel. He's got a little bit of time. This is Johnny Vu, actually, who's 1v1 on the end line. I wouldn't want that. He plays the ball across the 6, and that's one out by Matt Anderson.
And they're just finding that same space they found in the first half, just right off DeVacia's right shoulder. I mean, Herb and Johnny on islands out there, giving him so much space. And I wonder if that's just having the two forwards and DeVacia having to tuck in a little bit more and exposing that space. But it's found to be a space very, very vulnerable to St. John's back line.
Well, it's either the fullback or a 9 flashing out, whereas on the right side, you can see it's coming from Spencer. The width is coming from there, and Siku's not really getting forward. And a silly foul there for St. John's will give Augsburg a free kick as Zukowski claps his hands in sarcastic fashion. But quickly restarts it to yeah, it is. Restarts it to Lionel. Lionel wants to play him. He can't get it into him. Herb does a good job dropping his shoulder. Drew across his body. Hedstrom providing good depth there. Drew with a really good ball, actually.
Spencer handled well.
Yeah, and then the Siku went back over to Peyton Boyce. Peyton's going to stretch us out vertically here. This is a really good sequence from Augsburg, and you can see Lionel on it. Oh, and he stung one just over the top of the ball with his left foot, but an outstanding sequence. And you can see that as they go left to right and pull St. John's over and play a couple short passes on that right edge, then they can go back to that left side and expose DeVacia again.
Yeah, that's 3 balls now in a row, 3 Augsburg attacks through that space, and Lionel nearly put it upper 90. Great ball from Page. Just something he does so well is just stretching, being able to stretch the field with that ball over the top, which is just great to add into the short combination play that they give.
Well, the good thing is that the play's calling back down again, and Augsburg's got their foot on the ball, so they're back in control of this game, in possession of it, and doing what they want to do with the ball, and have survived and kind of get those first 4 or 5 minutes where St. John's was really creating some problems for us.
Yeah, sometimes all you want to do is just weather the storm the first 5-10 minutes and then just ease into your game, and it looks like Augsburg is doing that really well now.
A little pressure applied by Vergara on Nicholas French. He kicks it out of bounds, and Herb comes up, tosses it into Pay, and that's a tight space. Pay can't quite get Herb where he wanted him to, but it's going to turn over anyway. He's got some players behind him if he wants to. Hedstrom drops in. Looks like
clearance from Hedstrom.
Okay. Throw in for St. John's.
No pressure applied there. Hedstrom just decided to clear it.
Maybe he was trying to hit somebody on the bench.
Might have seen it go.
The Yoggies are back on the ball. Siku throws the ball in. And a good battle there. Wadsworth dummies it, leaves it in.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a really good effort by Pacelli there.
Just a little bit behind him.
Yeah, Erickson can't quite get it. That ball might have been out of play. I think it was. St. John's will have to throw it on that side.
Something that I've noticed and that I just have really liked from Vergara and Johnny Vu up top on the defensive side is just the pressure they give. They drop back and they cover so well, and they really help the Augsburg Aggies win the ball back in those first 6 seconds, which is crucial with the style of play that they do.
Here's a good build-up, and like you just said, that early entry ball into Johnny was good. He held it up and knocked it back, and we had a chance to build. Herb just got a little narrow there, and the ball's played over his right shoulder, so St. John's has to throw him, but the idea was right. And there's Foster again. So, he's 35 yards away from the goal, away from center, and Drew Collins is in his back. It looks like he's going to play Garrett, but he turns on his outside shoulder and does really well.
Beautiful. Well done by the freshman there.
Outstanding. And Z with a switch through. Well, he's
Great.
Pick your poison. He finds Siku ahead of Pay. Pay's running forward. He gives us a chance, and now we got another runner all the way higher. And let's see what we get out of this. Was it deflected?
Goal kick.
No.
Looks like that was Johnny Vu getting up?
No, it's
Vergara.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vergara's a guy who will run all day long, and you'd love to see it up top. Just the energy he brings is absolutely phenomenal.
French puts another goal kick as far as he can. Collins goes for it, doesn't win it. Actually, that was Spencer who goes for it, doesn't win it. Falls to Hedstrom now. Good depth from Drew Collins. If Herb can drop out, we're going to be in a good spot. He does. He opens his hips. The ball's played to his front foot, and now he's coming forward. And there's a whole bunch of room for him. He's going to sit on it and keep it. Johnny Vu has a bouncing ball that was a little bit trickier to deal with, and Augsburg gives it away cheaply. Here comes Foster. Plays on the left edge. Now it's Erickson. Erickson puts it back into Foster. We don't want that, and he's just couldn't quite handle it. He's on his left side where he's significantly less comfortable. And he puts it over the top. Really no threat in the end. But again, an unforced error from Augsburg. They got to do a little bit better to maintain that ball. And Herb's been outstanding in his debut tonight. Left back, and he's just really moved into good spaces. But we got to make sure we maintain possession of the ball.
Yeah, it's got to be better. The pass he puts into Johnny. I mean, Johnny could have handled it better, but then again, it just starts with the pass from Herb, and that's just a careless error leading to an attack. Thankfully, it didn't lead to anything, but just shows you that those details are so important.
Well, you see that Johnny's now pressing goal kicks, so they're not going to let Augsburg play short out of the back. The Augies had 3 players back in wide spaces, and St. John's had pressed players high, and they're going to push Garrett to kick it long. And that was a smart move because now St. John's is one possession coming at Augsburg the other way.
Well done by Pay.
Looks like the magician Z on the dribble. Look at that entry ball into a good spot. If that stays in play, it's pretty good. The run was a little bit narrow to start from Spence, but that's still a great idea. Nick Zakowski's got something special. I'll tell you that much. If you just get off his feet a little quicker in some of these moments, be even more effective. But he is just so difficult to dispossess of the ball.
Yeah, and he's so talented on the ball, and on one hand, you want him to release it a little quicker, but some of the things he does when he holds on to it can be really good. Pay a little bit of a unforced error there.
Well, the Augies recover all right. I mean, you see the transition to defense. You get 4 or 5 guys back behind the ball. But to St. John's' credit, too, they stuffed 4 guys forward. So that moment was an explosive moment. Both teams did really well in it, and it leads to a St. John's throw-in on the south side. And the referee stopped the clock. I missed it. We put a ball into the freeway, or what happened here?
Yeah, it looks like he went into the freeway. 94.
Well, there goes $120 for the Augies.
Someone will go play Frogger and grab it.
There you go. St. John's gets us restarted. That was a little bit sloppy. Almost looked like he played it off his own hand. Spencer wins the ball. Plays an entry ball forward. But look at there it is. I mean, just to come back from Johnny there again, starting on that left edge, dropping in deep to get the ball, building it up, getting his teammates forward, now playing Lionel. That's much better from Johnny as we build up, and now the team can come forward into the attack. So here comes Nick Zakowski on the ball. Lionel's on it. Pay's touching it. There's DeDrew. Back over. First time, second time. Z cuts back. This build-up's outstanding from Augsburg. Lionel's on the ball again. He's running at you here. Let's see what happens. St. John's pokes it out. Augsburg regains possession, but the build-up here is just really good. Calm, slow. Looks like there's a substitution happening.
Yeah, it looks like Taylor Sullivan's back in for Spencer, right?
Here comes Lionel cutting across, and he's doing his thing. He's dispossessed. Good job by the Johnnies there to knock Lionel Lang off the ball. Drew Collins is playing higher here, and you can see these long legs and why they make a difference. And Z's turned the ball around again a couple times in circles. Good little movement from Herb. You got to keep it here, and that's what Z does pretty well, and he gets fouled. He draws the free kick.
Well done by Z. Might have been bailed out by the foul, but, I mean, the composure to keep it and slow the ball down is great. I think he hung on to it a little bit too much, but in the end, he's able to draw the foul, and the Augies maintain possession.
And now you got Hedstrom and Drew Collins moving forward with Lionel on the ball. So let's see if we can play a little you give me an assist, I'll give you an assist, and then we do it again.
A little ping-pong match between the two.
I don't know. Somebody's sitting in a good spot in the 6th there, too. That's a little bit understruck. And Matt Anderson, the big dog from St. John's, has no problem clearing that one out. But good pressure from Lionel in behind to create a turnover. And Johnny Vu's on the ball now. Plays it across to Sully. Sully back to Z. Yeah, changes it through. Boom, Spencer back to Z. Not Spencer, sorry. But Drew Collins is still really high as the center back for Augsburg. Plays the ball back around. This is Vergara on the edge. Out the other way. Back to Drew Collins. With a big first touch. I think he did that on purpose because he was in a whole world of trouble, but the referee said no problem. St. John's wins possession. And they get the ball across midfield. And it's a hopeful moment. And Hedstrom has to commit a foul there. And I think he says he's got the ball, but he's definitely got – it's a foul.
Yeah.
And he's going in the book. Yeah. Yeah, the moment in the game. You know what, though? That's not a bad spot for Dan to do that either, because Augsburg had possession in the St. John's half for quite a bit. St. John's was just about to counter coming out, and he just broke it up, and he's far enough away from the goal that it shouldn't be a problem. So That's not a bad one. You just hope the St. John's player's okay. You don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah. And there was no malicious intent there. He's just going for the ball. I mean, he got the ball, but he also did get a chunk of the player there.
Now St. John's has a free kick. Augsburg looks like they're going to hold just underneath 18. Drew seems to be the deepest player here. Collins, who's coming across the line because there's some movement from St. John's in there, but Garrett Canlin comes out and snatches that out of the air. No problem. He gets it about 8 yards away from the goal. So a little bit understruck from Wadsworth. Maybe not his best delivery, but cleaned up nicely by the Augies, and no harm, no foul is what it ends up to be. Garrett's forced to punt it again because St. John's is pressing higher. So good job there for St. John's to take Augsburg away from what they want to do. But the second ball has fallen to Augsburg again. So Z into Lionel. Lionel back to Z. That's a really tough ball. Tight space.
Well done by Z.
Unbelievable. But, yeah, now Lionel has to cheat. And that's on Lionel. He had to cheat because of the ball that he gave Z originally. Early set piece played by St. John's. Here comes Parisi up the left edge. Gets a little bump from Erickson. He tries to kick it, but that's one out nicely by Herb
Well
Carrera.
done by Herb.
Yeah, that's outstanding. The first year steps in the way of the big dog and says, no, not today. That's not going to hurt anybody. That's 36, 38 yards out.
Yeah. Got a little ambitious there. Interesting take. I mean, we'll take it.
Now let's see if Augsburg can get the dang ball on the floor. I know St. John's is keeping players higher, but I'd love to see somebody drop into the pocket right here to play out of the back. And there it is. Hedstrom drops low. But Johnny comes with him, and Garrett's forced to kick it long. So good job, St. John's, to take us out of the game. But we win the second ball. Z's on it. Through Peyton, back to Z. Little two-man game again. Z takes too much time on the ball, and did he get bailed out? No, he actually lost it and then fouled.
Yeah, that's
worst case scenario.
Double sin right there. I mean, such a talented player, so good on the ball. I mean, his slow speed of play is sometimes brilliant, but just picking those moments.
That could have been a problem, but Garrett had that in his sight the entire time. So the Augies escape that issue again, and see set piece moments from St. John's that seem to be the one. And there's a foul and a free kick here, so Augsburg gets bailed out. But it's keep the ball moving. Don't commit any fouls in dangerous places. Don't give St. John's a chance on set pieces or in moments of transition. You should be fine. Herb kills the ball out of the air. Zukowski dances on it. Nick gets muscled off. Regard that is. Foster holds up really well with his back to goal, and Wadsworth comes to support him, plays the ball into the channel for Foster, and he throws it across, but that's behind the goal and behind everything. Good little two-man game, but it's like who's going to get on the end of it?
Hopeful crosses. Hopefully Augsburg can find some possession here, because it's been a frustrating last 5-6 minutes of just ping pong back and forth. Finally able to play short.
All right.
Johnny Wu now in the attack. Has Vergara on his left.
Great run from Nick Vergara. He's pulled all the defenders over, and Johnny, he goes for it. He had something. You can see it in his eyes. It's blocked out well by St. John's, and they'll have a throw-in. But that's a good moment from Augsburg, and that's just all from running off the ball. And here comes Vergara out of the game now. So Tio is going to come in for him. It looks like Tommy Picca is in for Ryan Erickson on St. John's. He's been in for a minute or so here, and we'll see what happens now.
Looks like Tio with the long throw. You got Drew and Dan in the box.
Dan tries to flick it off. It falls to his feet. Let's see what the big dog can do. Another clip ball back in. Can Teal get it back in? He does on the floor, but it's cut out by St. John's, and St. John's clears the danger. Won by Sully.
Well
back
done.
Or Pay, sorry. There's Pick on the ball. Got an onrushing Parisi who's overlapped him. Cuts the ball back. He's got Picca if he wants him. Uses him. Anderson Right side for Cromer. Cromer goes long.
One by
Cut out.
Drew.
Foster again coming so deep to get the ball. And is that a foul? The referee says no. We're good.
Well done by Sully.
Fay has the ball. There's a player wide open on the left edge. And what a great ball. There it is. And so Teo's he's 1v1 right now on this left edge, but he's got to bring some players into the game with him. So he holds it up nicely. This is a promising moment for Augsburg. Lionel Vang on the goal. He pushes it back 2, 4, 6, 7 Johnnies behind the ball. Now they've gotten back. So can Augsburg pull them out to be able to get in behind? That's the question. Change it again. Now Herb, the left back, is pushed all the way forward. And more Johnnies are deeper now. Zukowski all the way back to Pay. Pay to Zukowski. Zukowski cuts across. Little entry ball in here to Lionel Vang. Lionel Vang, he's found a way. He's won. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. No, he's done it. Are you kidding me? That's just Lionel Vang right there.
5v1.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a great goal by Lionel Vang. Just the way that he shipped his hips there a little bit to throw the defender off to create space. So he get on his left foot and he just walks the ball past Nicholas French. You really can't do anything about it. But the build-up, the patient build-up, the good sequence from Augsburg, super fun to watch. Really composed, really good, and 3-0. I mean, you've got to say that that's it right now. I mean, we got 22 minutes left in the game, and it's 3-0. I can't see the Augies who are like 115-10 when they score first to have a 3-goal lead to give that one up at this point in the game. So this is a really good step forward for Augsburg, especially as they bounce back from some challenging results.
Yeah, hopefully that's the nail in the coffin. It was just a beautiful team build-up. You love to see the aggressive discipline that they have to step on it, not force those crosses. And it led to just a beautiful, beautiful build-up. And Lionel going 1v4 on his right on the first one. This one he goes on his left, and it's 3-0 Augsburg.
And a couple changes too. So Lalo and Spencer come in for Z and Johnny Vu. Spencer re-enters the game, and he's exhausted his substitution. Now St. John's has a chance on this left edge, and there's a throw-in for the Johnnies. Come on, Lionel Vang. Come on.
He's not a better player than Lionel Vang in the MIAC.
That's a brace on the night, and he's so special to watch. Both goals were, made from good build-up or good entry ball from Dan Hedstrom on the first one, and really good build-up on that one. But in the end, he's still 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, 1v5, and doing it on his own. It's just, he's a special player.
Very, very special player. Generational talent here for Augsburg, Lionel Vang.
St. John's tries to play one over the top. Hedstrom meets the challenge. It's a physical moment. Wadsworth sneaks in. Foster tries to kick it out, and it's cleared away by Sullivan. Sullivan into Anderson. Anderson turns it in. Looks like Specia here. There, he slips around. Maybe not Cromer. I'm not certain. And here comes Augsburg the other way. Sikule gives it away cheaply. But Teo comes underneath and does a little bit of work, and that's what he does well. I mean, the kid's got an engine on him. He'll run forever and create dangerous things. He scored a lot of goals early in the season for the Augies. He looked to be the real deal. He's run through a bit of a spell where his confidence is rattled. He hasn't scored as many goals, but it's in him. It's definitely in him, and he's a player. He knows the game. He understands the game. He reads it well, and he's willing to do the work. So once that thing opens up for him, he's going to get it.
Young player, too. I mean, he's only in his sophomore season. We're really excited for what he will be able to do in his with the rest of this season and his upcoming 2 years. I think he will have a breakout year in terms of just goal scoring and finding the back of the net.
And the Augies content to just keep the ball right now as they spin it around a bit, and it turns over there from Lionel, but Dan wins the ball. Siku is going to be in a face-to-face battle there. Oof, that could be caution there.
Yeah,
is it? It should be.
And you don't see Sinku go down easily, so you know that there's a little bit of heat behind that challenge. I mean,
awkward. I mean, he's clearing a ball on a side volley out of the air, and the St. John's defender is putting his leg through him as he does it. Looks like he's just going to let him walk away and give Augsburg a free kick. That's fine. I mean, there really hasn't been a lot in this game, other than Tommy's Pickus challenge on Lionel in the corner was probably the only tackle that had any animosity in it. Everything else has been just fair game.
Yeah, and hopefully if the scoreline stays the same, St. John's doesn't fall into that frustration and starts to put in some late challenges. Hopefully they keep it clean, as you can tend to see that happen when games get a little spread and frustration builds.
I'm going to be on Augsburg too to move the ball quicker. I mean, if you're going to keep the ball, sometimes you get kicked, and that game's a good teacher.
Yeah, hopefully Nick Zukowski can learn a little bit through that.
I don't know if you've seen him up close. I watched him in training last week, but his legs, he's so thick and strong. I feel like even if you kicked his leg, it wouldn't move.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone up against him, and I can tell you he is probably one of the hardest players to strip the ball from. Just so center of gravity is just phenomenal.
Well, St. John's has the ball. It's kind of spitting on the top of the 18. Augsburg clears it away, but it's just kind of loose and gross right now. There's not a lot of rhythm to this soccer game. It's just going to be, in and out of play, I think, for a bit. And we got a substitution coming here and a throw in for Augsburg. No. Lionel didn't take a picture over his shoulder there. That was a mistake, but Sully has battled his way. And you can see what the value in Sullivan is. And can you imagine if he was healthy? I mean, he just got kicked right in the spot where his leg is hurt.
Yeah.
Really bad. That wasn't good. That really wasn't good. Oh, man.
Yeah, I just got kicked right in the shin.
Oh.
Dealing with shin splints.
Oh, this poor guy.
Yeah.
And good on the St. John's guy to come up and check on him to make sure that he's okay.
Oh, he's hurting.
Is that Pacelli there?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I think that's really important in a game, but that'll do it for Sully. That that's the one part of his body he can't handle.
Yeah. I mean, you love to see the grit and determination he brings. I mean, you just see even in that last play resulted in him getting hit there. But I mean, that's kind of what this season has been for him, just being able to battle through the adversity. I mean, no one wants that on their senior season to just be hindered with injury, but the way he's approached it, the positivity, he's such a positive guy. He's always working hard. He's put in time both in the training room, before and after training, just trying to stay as healthy as possible. And I think that really speaks volumes to his teammates, just showing the dedication that he has to be able to make this type of impact. And even though it's 15, 20 minutes a half, maybe even a game, it does make an impact as he brings so much value both on and off the field. He will definitely be missed moving forward. But
yeah, and you see him walking off gingerly, and Holker's come out, and he doesn't usually come out on the field if somebody's hurt. I know he doesn't do it if his own kid is hurt. He doesn't come out on the field. So it's
looks like.
And what's the change going to be here? It's like Zukowski's back in, so that'll add to the load of Z the minutes for him tonight. But the way he's been playing, he can handle it. And Pace, look at him just roll the ball forward a little bit here and there.
Yeah, he loves to get his advantages when he can. Smart competitor.
An unfortunate moment for Taylor Sullivan, but it's part of the game sometimes, and I appreciate the sportsmanship from St. John. So Peyton gets us restarted, and here we go around the back. A flat ball in the back third. That was real lazy and not good. Herb is there to win it back. Yeah, that's really good. Now let's sit on the ball. Let's keep it a bit here. If we can get 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 passes, that would be really fun. See, looks to play vertically.
Good find.
Gets it into Tio. Tio has a player on the edge who pulls wide instead of in. And like you can see, Johnny says, no, I want it on my left shoulder, not in that spot. And I totally agree with Johnny because that's a lot of running right there in that rhythm. But still, nonetheless, great hold-up play from Tio. Oh, boy.
Oof, just overpay.
That's the problem with Augsburg is that there's a lot of guys that are incredible with the ball at their feet, but there are not a lot of guys who are brave and strong in the air. And that's why having Dan Hedstrom around is so important because at 6'5", he kind of makes up for any of the deficiencies that exist anywhere else in the air. Drew Collins has got that in him too, and I know there's some younger players coming up in the program who have that ability and hopefully can help the Augies in that arena. But I also think that some of the players here have to just it's a change of mindset.
100%. it's something that can be learned. It's something that can um, just be worked on, and I think they can find that. I mean, I think the grind of the off season will hopefully um, allow that to emerge in some of the younger guys and step into roles where they can be just as good soccer players as they are grinders.
Yeah, I mean, confidence, you gain confidence as you gain strength and some of the other athletic abilities that go along with your soccer IQ. I think Augsburg has made it very clear that soccer IQ is more important than athleticism with the way that Holker selects his teams. Um, but having that athletic element is important, and having a bit of bravery and courage, I think, is something that's needed. And it doesn't matter how tall you are; it's really
No.
how big your heart is and how much you're willing to give for the group.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, evident in today's game. I mean, you look at St. John's starting lineup, you look at their back line, 6', 6'5", 5'10", 6'5". You look at the Augies, 5'8", 5'9", and I mean, scoreline suggests that definitely height is not that big of a factor.
Well, St. John's just had a chance there, but it was snuffed out easily by Spencer Enright, who'd done all the dirty work, and then he got fouled for his due diligence on the way out, allowing Augsburg to have a restart here. But again, I think it's just getting sloppy. It's just a dead ball. Let's see if we can get some rhythm into this game a little bit here. It's just more enjoyable as a neutral.
Oh, 100%.
Bouncing balls in the air again, taken out of the air by Lionel. Let's see if he can calm the game down for us a little bit. He wins the weight room battle there, but is called for cheating. I don't know.
Yeah, that one a little soft in my opinion, but the way this game's been going, I mean, that's the way the ref is calling it. That's a foul due to the standard, but hopefully we can let a little bit more play, and that will allow the game to flow a little bit more.
If they get the ball on the floor, it'll flow more. I mean, right now it's just too much in the air all over the place, and there's Guy Mo's on his – and that was the one Lionel bumped off the ball, and he just kind of climbed the shoulders of Z there a little bit and did so effectively and created a throw-in for St. John. So then you got to use what you can use and go get it. But, I mean, in this game, Lionel has been he's just dynamic and dynamite. He's on I don't know what he's got, like 5 or 6 shots on frame. Oh, boy, there's a chance from St. John's that – oh, no. And a second chance. Dan Hedstrom covers the line. Let's see what happens here. Foster's trying to turn. He's trying to do everything. And the problem, I think, with Keegan is that he's doing so much on his own. And I don't know that he had any other options there. And I admire his ambition to turn and go at it. But I feel like he's a one-man warrior up there kind of on an island. But that initial chance from St. John's was enough to get people holding their breath for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well hit. I mean, he got crunched.
And that's a bad foul. Wadsworth just absolutely bit Peyton, but maybe there's a chance for Augsburg to take a little bit of that wind out of the sails of St. John's after they just hit the crossbar.
Dan likes to go long. Again.
Shocker.
Oh, man.
Oh, and Guy Mose has a hard time handling that ball that came down from the moon. So Herb Carrera with a throw-in for the Augies.
Looked like
Artie's having a conversation with Wadsworth. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe a substitution happening. It looks like somebody's returning up top. Vergara re-enters the game for Augsburg.
Lalo coming out. Beautifully done from Lionel, wins it.
There he goes on the end line. He's so dangerous when he cuts across. Did that hit the hand? I think it did. It did. It's a penalty for Augsburg. Yeah, I mean, Lionel Vang, at PLU early in the year, he walked the end line. He's just done it so many times. He walks a tightrope because he's so good. And that moment, he's trying to serve a ball across, and it hits the hand of the St. John's player. And you could say ball to hand, but it's definitely away from his body. So, I mean, it affected the service. And I mean, you can't argue the penalty, but you could certainly be a person wearing a red shirt going, I don't know if that was necessary either.
Yeah.
3-0. But now Lionel gets a chance to complete the hat trick, and he steps up. And, in Lionel, all of his penalties, he's gone to the right side this year. The goalkeeper's left. We'll see if he continues to do it. I think he's just said, "I'm going to beat you."
Yeah, let's see what he does here. Would be his first career hat trick.
Yeah, that'll work. So
Yeah,
4-0 to the Augies, 3 from Lionel Vang, and he just jaunts over to the alumni guys and says, "Yes, yes, please." What just an outstanding performance from Lionel Vang, an outstanding performance from the Augies overall. Even though the game's been choppy for the last 12 to 15 minutes, they've done what they needed to do to protect the goal. They've stretched the lead to 4, and this one's over. I mean,
yeah.
I don't see St. John scoring 5 goals in the next 12 minutes, let alone 4 to push us to overtime.
No, not even close. I mean, Lionel's been absolutely electric, and so have the Augies for most of the night. And what a way to just cap off a beautiful performance for him. I mean, first career hat trick, 3 goals and an assist.
Well, it looks like Holker's going to take him off too.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting a little standing ovation as he walks off.
Yeah, he puts in James Gagnon, so we'll get some more minutes for James, the senior, who's worked hard, as you mentioned early in the year, to do all the things that he needs to do to get on the field and give Lionel his curtain call. He's done on the night. It's 4-0 with 12 minutes to go. Forget about it. That's the player of the year right there. Let him walk off.
Yeah, he deserves it, and he's just been electric all season. I mean, not only on the field but off the field, his attitude and mentality, I mean, I think has contributed so much to the success that he's had. He's been all in, and it's showing.
And Tio's dropped into the 10, so it's Vergara and Gagnon up top with Tio as the 10. Peyton still is the 6, although Peyton's starting to fatigue a little bit. You can see it, and there's a chance there right away. St. John's is Tommy Pickett gets run over from behind, and a good little cheeky ball out by Spence, but I think Tio is not quite aware that there was pressure coming behind him. But again, the kind of pressure that he applies, he wins it right back. So Vergara's got Spencer. Spencer turns across his body. Can he go anywhere? He's got a little one into Z. Zukowski is running into 5-6 players. A good choice to step on it and come back with it. I really appreciate that. Peyton spits it over and turns it over to Guillemot's. He plays an early entry ball in. Foster. That could have been a handball by my account, but Drew Collins digs it out, and it's a tough spot for Herb. Guillemot's is having an interesting game here. He's been not as effective as he usually is. But St. John's looks like they might have won a corner kick here.
Yeah, I mean, you had some good moments there from the Augies. Peyton couldn't connect with that long ball over the top that he's been hitting so well. I mean, I think the fatigue is playing them there. And then it kind of just led to this corner from all that.
Well, it's not what you want Augsburg to be doing, but that kind of came from nothing. Here's a chance for St. John's. Serve low to the top of the 18, cut across. Save, blocked. Look at that, blocked again, and the rebound is scored. And that's it. I mean, if you don't clear your lines, you pay the price. So St. John's gets one back. It's 4-1 here. I don't know, what do we have on the time? It looks like about 10 minutes to go, 9 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go. So that's not fun, but it's not the end of the world.
No. And again, just a little frustrating that it comes out of nothing, but Doggies should have no problem closing this game out. I mean, there's no way that the tides can turn. Well done. Good soccer there from Augsburg. Fine Z.
And that's it. I mean, if you get scored on, let's see if you can string together 20 passes and just take the rhythm and the sails out of the opponent. I mean, this is what you want. This is great from Augsburg. Tio turns into pressure and plays away really well.
Well done by James.
Yep.
Oof.
Z stacking the pads, trying to come out with it. I don't know what's going to happen there, but still, nonetheless, Augsburg's on the ball. I mean, Herb is creative, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's brave.
You'd love to see a freshman do that. Just a little flash and have that flair that he has. He likes his flicks. He likes being flashy, and it's fun. It's fun to watch.
Well, as much as the ball's in the air, it's not going to favor Augsburg. It's going to give St. John's a chance. And here's Wadsworth driving on the dribble. It's poked away at the last second, but there's another entry ball played in with both Becker and Foster up there. You've got some players who've got some good frame, good size, and they can do some damage with Wadsworth underneath. So it's a front three that can be pretty dangerous. And out of curiosity, I wonder if St. John's maybe doesn't wish they didn't do that a little bit earlier.
Yeah. See what G likes to do here. Play long.
Yeah, you're never gonna discredit the hustle of James. James Gagnon's gonna run hard, that's for sure.
Yeah, the ball just cannot find a way to settle down.
Oof.
Well done by Spencer.
Yeah, that's outstanding. He's been really good tonight.
Yeah, he's been start to finish.
Mhm.
Incredible performance. Well done from Pay. Find that weak side.
Just a little casual there, and it cost Augsburg possession of the ball. Z took a little bit long on it, and we've lost it. He hunts it. Oof, Drew got smoked there.
Yeah.
Another foul.
St. John's player looks like
That's
Paul Walker
Wadsworth.
comes in a little late. Second or third time that's happened tonight, but Drew is just so brave. He's never going to go out of that. There's anyone on this team that I'd want to go into battle with, it'd definitely be Drew. He's got no fear, and as a freshman, it's just so fun to watch him just battle every tackle,
Well, he
every
had that
challenge.
really timely intervention on Foster early in the game, right? You know, about the 18th
Mm-hmm.
minute, 19th minute, when he just came flying across. And he did that at McAllister several times when he really got in the game for the first time. And I think it was that McAllister game that caught the eye of Holker and said, "Okay, this kid's ready." I mean, I think we've known all along he's a good player, but can he handle this stage? And now the answer is a resound yes.
Yeah. I mean, after that McAllister game where he just stepped in, was presented with an interesting opportunity against St. Thomas as senior Dan Hedstrom had to sit that one out, and he stepped in magnificently and has been a contributing member in the starting 11, pulling out full 90s ever since.
Now bouncing ball again. St. John's is content to just chop it and keep the ball going at a dangerous spots. Drew wins the ball out of bounds, but it's a throw in for the Johnnies. Played in behind and a good little run there. It's actually a great run in behind. And a chance from St. John's that's over the top. So, Becker runs diagonally and does really well to get it served across, but in the end it doesn't do any harm. And now let's see how long Garrett takes to get this thing off his foot.
Yeah, just kill the game down.
Looks like he's
I don't know why he's speeding up for. I mean, there we go.
Fix your shin guards, tie your shoe. Just got to take the juice out of the game, and the opponent has a chance. Good challenge.
Well done by Tio.
Yeah, Guillemot has won the ball on him, but Tio did enough to disrupt it, and Augie's won possession. I mean, he could have turned there, but he'll get a chance to turn up now.
There we go.
Good switch.
Great find.
Really good, yeah. Spencer's in a good spot. Really good interplay from those two players. That was outstanding.
Beautiful.
Ooh, a little bit understruck.
Mm.
We're going to get bailed out with a foul there. I think so. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, James just got to do a little bit better there. Find Sinku's feet. Puts in a little bit of a hostile ball, and Sinku unintentionally fouls there. I mean, it looks like can't quite tell who that is, but he's still down. Looks like he's getting up now. Looks like that might be crazy.
An understruck pass is never a good thing.
No, especially at this level. You cannot get away with understriking a pass. I mean, I think that's something that's just so fun to watch. Is you advance in the level, is just the crispness and the ping in the pass just gets faster and faster every time, and you definitely see it today. Augsburg has been pinging the ball, and it's been fun to watch.
It's offside there, Austin. I mean, yep, we got it.
About 5 minutes left. Hopefully Augsburg can just start to connect those sequence of passes. They've done so well throughout the game and just kill it off completely and go home. Would love to have the clean sheet, but nonetheless a great result with the backs against the walls. And they'll be heading into Bethel this weekend. Saturday they'll be heading to Bethel to play them at a midday game. So hopefully they can build off this momentum and get a much needed win this weekend.
Yeah, if you want to be in the playoff, you got to take care of the teams that are underneath you in the standings, and Bethel historically has been there. So Augsburg has to, but they've also had a little bit of a trouble with Bethel in the last few years. I mean, last year they finally got the monkey off the back with an absolute shellacking, but outside of that, I feel like Bethel has been taking points from them for 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
Good job
Yeah,
for
and that's the fun thing about the MIAC. I mean, it's just such a competitive league, top to bottom. I don't think there's a better conference in Division Three when it comes to just being that competitive. And every game is so big and means so much. So they definitely will not take an opponent like Bethel lightly whatsoever.
I'm watching it, and Peyton's struggling right now, and I can see his substitute at the bench waiting to come in for him, and let's just hope that Peyton can get the ball off his we can get a restart. And there he is. And there,
Ooh,
and that's it. And he's cramping up, and Foster's going to be in all alone here. And was it deflected? I think it was. It hit Cinco in the butt and bounced in. It's 4-2. But all that stemmed from Peyton just looked a little fatigued. He was a little calm on the ball, and it was ripped off by Wadsworth. And a good
yeah.
early entry ball into Kagan Foster as Pay was cramping up and trying to pull him down by his shirt just to get off the field. And then Siku closes in well, and Foster's shot hits him in the butt and deflects the other way and puts Garrett out of play. So 4-2, but there's only like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes to go in this game. So I still don't think the Johnnies are going to come back, and Augsburg should secure this. But nonetheless, it's annoying to have conceded 2 goals in the last 4 minutes or 6 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah, especially with the performance they put up today. I mean, it definitely leaves a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth for the Aggies, but still a great result. Looks like St. John's pushing up some players on the kickoff. Looks like to have some belief from these 2 goals. So,
and Holker's over talking to Lionel right now. It looks like Lionel's getting up.
Yeah, it looks like Lionel's going back in. Hopefully he'll calm things down. And just
Gagnon is moving away from center, but it doesn't look like it's going. Is it going to be James?
Yeah, it is.
No, because Peyton's coming off.
I think Cristo just stepped in first year. Cristo Serrano stepping in the last 4 minutes to close out the game.
And he was the one sitting in midfield waiting to get in for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. So Cristo drops in at 6. We'll see if Lionel just – why not?
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, Nick French was way off his line. If Lionel hit that well, that actually was a done deal.
Yeah.
So
you love the awareness from Lionel just to do that and see that, recognize those moments. You don't see many players who have the courage to do that right off the kick.
Good challenge from Teal. Referee decides it's a foul. The good thing here is that Matt Anderson is serving the ball instead of getting on the end of it.
Yeah, I don't really understand the logic there, but St. John's just throwing everyone up.
Throws one in the box. It's understruck. Won by Spencer. Around the hips there. Pickup plays it all the way back. Tries to clip an early ball in that Johnnies do. Bumped really well, and G bravely comes out and collects that ball, and he's going to lay on it. What the heck is he doing? He's getting up to play a quick restart, but maybe he knows something I don't know. So he's playing a little game with Foster there.
I love to see that from G. Just a little bit of a fake punt. Brilliant.
Yeah, the Johnnies are just throwing the ball forward, and they are a handful up there. These are some big boys. I mean, Ben Becker's got some size, and Kagan Foster is an absolute machine up there. He's really a threat. And I mean, even the last goal was a deflection. He's still really good. Look at him fighting Drew Collins all the way and earns a corner there. That's not great. Paul Wadsworth has been a handful for his 3 years of his career. So I think St. John's is going to do everything they can to muck this thing up and make it even a little bit uglier, and they're doing it. Corner kick's over-served a bit, and that's not going to do it. Teal's going to get that one. Oh, Vergara steps over it, wins it back. Oh, my God, he's in behind. Oh!
What a save.
Offside. Okay. Gee, good job closing it down, but I'm like, how did this guy get – I mean, Cromer's little lofted ball in there was well done. I couldn't believe how available the St. John's player was, and that's because he cheated. Still feel like Garrett's in a bit of a hurry here. He's going to slow things down.
Yeah, he's just kicking it out of bounds. I mean, with how well the Aggies play, there's no reason they Can't just play this one out. Lionel winning the ball there wonderfully. There we go.
Okay.
Yep.
Sit on it. Slow down.
Yeah, this should bring us into the end, and
Yeah, it's a minute to go now. I mean, it's a done deal, but I still would love to see Augsburg do a little bit better closing out this game.
yeah, I mean, you know that there's going to be a certain amount of frustration with the coaching staff, just with how the things finished off. I mean, the first 80 minutes were absolutely brilliant, but these last 10 minutes have definitely exposed some things, and not the way you want to close out a game.
That's a smart little ball down on the edge for the Augies. Send one player down low and just sit on it in the corner here. And take the throw-in after throw-in after throw-in after throw-in, no problem. Throw the ball in different places. St. John's delivering it. That's not going to be enough.
No.
Oh, McGuire tried to go back into the corner. But Sikowski wisely just plays a dead ball over the top of the backs.
And
that's enough that'll take enough time out of the game to squeeze it out. But French puts one up to the sky once again, and that'll do it. So the game ends the same way it started, with Nick French kicking it as hard as he can. And the Augies claim a 4-2 victory over St. John's. A pretty important MIAC win for the Augies, and Lionel Vang shows us why he is Lionel Vang.
electric performance from Lionel. First career hat trick with an assist. Absolutely sensational. Moving the Augies up to 2-4, dropping down the Johnnies to 4-3, and that's a much needed win for the Augies, who find themselves with their back against the wall, and Lionel showing everyone why he's the best player in Minnesota.
Good stuff from Edor Nelson Field. That'll do it for us. Augsburg wins 4-2.